Hi guys, how you guys doing? I'm live again. I almost didn't do this live, but I'm kind of bored. I'm walking home, and I just made a realization about music theory I'd like to share with you guys since I'm at it. It's a cool thing, I think. It has to do with the circle of fifths, and it has to do with Ionian mode and Lydian mode. And if you stretch it far enough, it even has to do with George Russell's book, The Lydian Chromatic Concept, written in the 50s or the 60s. So if you want to hear it, just dive into this. So you have the circle of fifths, right? Now, if you start at a certain note, I'm going to be this. Say I have white keys, and I start at F or I start at C. And if I start at F, that's if I start at F, that's Lydian mode. If you have all white keys, and if you start in C, start with C, that's Ionian mode. If you have all white keys. Okay. You do the circle of fifths clockwise, starting on either F or C, and watch how this analysis goes. So the rule is when you go clockwise around the circle of fifths, if you start at 1, then the first step is 5, because there's a fifth above 1. Then the fifth above 5 is 2, because the fifth above a fifth is a major ninth, but that's the same as a major second, so that's 2. A fifth above 2 is a major 6, that's 6. A fifth above 6 is a major third, that's 3. And a fifth above 3 is a major 7th, that's 7. So the first 6 starting on 1 notes number-wise. If the first one is 1, let's watch the badass car go by. And if you go straight circle of fifths upward, then you always have 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7. That's the first 6. Like I said, 1 is 1, 2, 5. 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7. So if I start with C, let's make C 1. So C is 1. The next one is G, that's 5. Then is D, that's 2. Then A is 6. Then E is 3, and then B is 7. Okay, now we have some choices to make. You go from C to B, and it's 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7. Now from B is a major 7th above, is a major 7th of C. It's also half step below C, because the inversion of a major 7th is a minor second, which is a half step. So from B, you can do one of two things. You can do the predictable thing and go a tritone above B, and that gives you an F, because a tritone above B is F, and that cuts you across the circle of fifths all the way down to below the C, which is an F. And then from the F is a fourth below the C, and so F is the 4th degree, and then from F to C is 4. So you have 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7, natural fourth or perfect fourth, 1. You chose to do the tritone above the B, which gave you the F, and then the F is the perfect fourth above the C, so you will go 4 to 1. But watch how that's only one of two possible choices. That's only one of two possible choices you could have made. From B, you can also do a perfect fifth above B. That gives you F sharp. That's where the first sharp comes. F sharp is the first of the sharps, and B is the first of the flats. But F is the first of the sharps. So if I go from B, which is the 7 of C, and I go a perfect fifth above the B, I get an F sharp, and now that makes C Lydian mode, and that's still the F sharp is still 4, but it's an augmented fourth, which makes it now that you're in C Lydian mode. And from F sharp you do a tritone back to C, and that starts the 1. So far, if you do six notes in a row in perfect fifths, you can go either another perfect fifth above that, which gives you a Lydian mode from where you started, or you can go a tritone above that, or below for that matter, above that 7th to give you the perfect fourth, which now makes you, when it goes back to the 1, that makes an Ionian mode, on the one that you started with, which is also called major scale. So almost, that's half the story. Now let's do F. Let's start on F. I said we start on F and C. So F is naturally a Lydian mode. So start on F and do the same analysis. It's always 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7. So F is 1, C is 5, G is 2, D is 6, A is 3, and E is 7. Okay, so E is a major seventh above F, or half step below F, and that's the major seven interval, the 7 interval in F Lydian. So here we are at E, which is a half step below F, and we can do the same thing with the C. Only this time, if you stick to the white keys, you have automatically a perfect fifth above the E, which gives you a B as in boy, and that B now is an augmented fourth above the F, which makes an F Lydian mode, and then the B goes back down to F, a tritone away, and you have an F Lydian mode, all straight six straight perfect fifths, and then finally augment a tritone to go back to the F. But you can do one more thing. You can do it differently, just like you did. Had a choice with the C scale. You have a choice with the F scale. If I go F to E, F, C, G, D, A, E, I can also do a tritone above or below E, which gives me a B flat. And that B flat goes to F, and that be the perfect fourth in F, which gives you an F Ionian mode, or F major scale. So again, just like with C, you have two choices. You can do the augmented fourth. In C, you could do the F sharp, which gives you a C Lydian, or you could do the F natural, which gives you a C Ionian or C major scale. With F, you could do the B natural, which gives you an F Ionian mode, or you can do the B flat, which gives you an F Ionian mode or F major scale. So either way, we introduced the first sharp, which was F sharp, and we introduced the first flat, which is B flat. So this is a good way. This is a good analysis for knowing your way around the circle of fifths. In fact, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But it's good to know these. It's good to know those patterns. That also George Russell's book called The Lydian Chromatic Concept states that there's an order to importances of sonorities above a certain note, in order from most consonant to most dissonant. And his thesis is that if I start with F, that's F Lydian in white key, but the most consonant note above F to play is C, because that's 1/5 above it. The second most consonant note is G, that's 2/5 above it. The third most consonant is D, then A, then E, then B, then and then instead of F sharp, which is the flat 2 in F, that's not the next most consonant note. You skip that one. So then you go to the F sharp, because that's really dissonant against an F. And then so you go to the next one, which is C sharp, which is a minor 6 above F. That's cool. Then you go to G sharp, which is about a third above F. That's the next most consonant one, or that's also called A flat. Then next you go to E flat, a perfect fifth above that, which is the minor 7th to F, and that's the next most consonant note. And then E, F, G, and then finally B flat, a perfect fifth above the E flat, gives you the perfect fourth above F. That's the second to most dissonant note in all the 12 notes to F. Then finally, the note we left out, which was G flat, could call it F sharp also, is the most dissonant note. And finally, that's the most dissonant note is G flat, and then and that's all 11 notes counted to F for consonance value. So so there's all that, and I was going to do here. What else was going to say? I was going to say something. Let me think. Oh yeah, let me think. So yes. Yeah, so it's good to know. It's good to know the circle of fifths. It's good to know all the intervals, and one way of doing the circle of fifths just from your brain, just from your head, is picture the top is 12 o'clock, and maybe that could be C, and then G is 1 o'clock. So C, G, D, C, then G's the 5, then D, then A. A is a quarter turn. That's a minor third below C. Then E, A. No. A, then E, B, F sharp. That's a tritone away from C. And the next one is C sharp. That's the next one. And then you have A flat. Then you have E flat. That's a minor third above C. And then B flat, and then F, and then back to C. So it's good to have that memorized, like in your head. You can just not just recite it, but you can see it in your head, know all the notes and the intervals. And it also the intervals are symmetric. Some of the intervals are symmetrical with regard to C. Like if C's at the top, G is one step one way. F is one step the other way. So F and G are inverted intervals of each other. So G is a perfect fifth above C. F's a perfect fourth above C. There's that. Then D is 2 steps to the right on the circle of fifths. That's a whole step above. B flat is a whole step below C, and that's 10 o'clock position. So that's another way you can see the circle of fifths that way too. And then if you go 3 steps to the right, that's going to be a minor third below C. That would be A. So A is a minor third below C. And then 3 steps to the left is a minor third above C, which is E flat. So that's a good way. So far so good. And then 4 steps to the right, clockwise from C, is E. 4 steps. That's major third above C. 4 steps to the left is A flat. That's a major third below C. So far the symmetry works there. And then 5 steps to the clockwise from C is B. That's a half step below C. 5 steps counterclockwise from C is C sharp. That's a half step above C. 6, and then finally the tritone is 6 half steps to the right or to the left, and that's either F sharp or G flat, depending on how you see it. If you see it as an augmented fourth, it's F sharp. If you see it as a diminished fifth, it's G flat. Either way, it's a tritone away from C. So it's a good way of seeing the circle of fifths that way too. Love you guys, peace, love, and rock and roll.